Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Global Dialogue for Justice Livestream Q A session. This is phase 2 of this amazing hybrid world forum. And today we have our program includes introduction, greetings. We have the Q&A, we have the raffle, brief discussion of the third and fourth phase of the dialogue, and then conclusion. And first of all, I'd like to say hello to everyone and play a video for you. The theme of this dialogue is we pushing boundaries, knowing that our world is complicated, knowing that so many people are suffering and fighting for justice. We have facing so many struggles in the world. It takes bold and courageous people to change the world, and we have to do it. So I'd like to bring and show you a video called Pushing Boundaries. All right, so it looks like the video is not being shown because it's not supported, but we are going to bring that in later on and share it with our YouTube channel. So those are my friends who are showing so much courage in everything. They push the boundaries in everything they do on and off the ground. So I'd like to thank my friends. They're the best flyers and the most amazing people in the world. So let's go ahead and continue this amazing hybrid world forum, the live stream Q&A, and like to welcome everyone. And first, I'd like to introduce the two people who's been instrumental, and they really are my rock and of course the heart and soul of this project. And so much courage. They're so inspiring. Colonel Hüseyin Demirtaş and Dr. Bayram Erzurumluoglu. Thank you so much. So I don't know if I pronounced that
Dr. Merj,
correctly.
thanks a lot.
I've been practicing that for a month. And so, okay, so today, before we continue, like what I said, we have the program that includes our Q&A and the raffle, and of course, the brief discussion of what's going to happen on the third and fourth phase of our dialogue, and of course, the conclusion where we're going to appeal to the world to join our dialogue, this important conversation, and supporting and fighting for justice. But before we continue, I would like to remind our viewers that we have a guidelines to be able. I've been doing this kind of dialogue, engaging people globally about the most pressing issues, and we have the guidelines of CRUFA. It's called compassion, respect, understanding, friendship, fairness, and accountability. For us, knowing that all of us we come from different backgrounds, we have different beliefs, ideas, and even ideology. But for us to be able to have a meaningful dialogue, we need to understand this very, I think it's a very simple, that compassion is universal. So this is not hard to do. And so this is how I've been able to moderate and facilitate hard conversations since 2014. So I'm so excited to welcome a lot of people that have supported these, from the pre-recorded presentations and supporting this dialogue, this project that is so important. So I'd like to say hello to our friends in New Mexico, in Texas, in Georgia, Florida, Missouri, and of course Slovenia, in Turkey, the UK, Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, and of course in so many different places in the world. So thank you so much. So now I'm so excited to hear Colonel, the author of the Erdocide, Colonel Hüseyin Demirtaş. Colonel?
So, hello, Dr. Merj. Thanks a lot. So, hello to everyone also. I just give information about myself. So, I'm almost 50 years old, maybe a little bit older. Huh? But lots of experiences in the life. So my newest experiences, unfortunately, about genocide. Normally, we always read these kind of things in books, but now we are living such a neo-modern genocide, and I call it Erdocide. I have written a book about that, and that this book. So in the last years, I have found about 115 tools and methods. So this is a new one, a new type of genocide, and it is a little bit, it's not so easy to make it understandable, but it's a societal genocide. So in this 21st century, unfortunately, we are witnessing such a criminal organization in Turkey. And Turkey is my lovely country, and Turkey was, I can say, unfortunately, was in the middle of different conflict areas. So I have 3 children. I was a naval officer, and I served my country for 22 years, and plus my cadet period. So I can say I have carried my lovely uniform, Turkish uniform, for 13 years, which is not so. It's a long time. Huh? It's not a short time. So my last position was a military diplomat in Romania, Bucharest. I served there for 2 years, and on 15th of July 2016, there had been something in Turkey. And after this incident, I went back to my country for my following position. It was a commodore. In Navy, commodore means commander of several warships. But when I was in Turkey, the Turkish general, and it was a degrading assignment. It was an insulting assignment. And then I was detained, and they claimed me killing Turkish people and wounding them in Turkey. In reality, I was in Romania, you know. So then they found nothing to prove their slander. Then I was freed, but I started my fight against these criminals. And when I fought, they just prepared fake indictments. And they dismissed me. I started my fight, not for myself, but for my nation first. And now I'm fighting for humanity. So when I continued my fighting, they just added my name on the international terrorist list. So they started just claiming that I was a killer, and now they just put my name on a terrorist list, an international terrorist list. Trying to serve to humanity and to my nation, and I'm fighting against a genocidal organization. Just for now, it is enough, I think. So I try to give answer.
Yes, let's welcome Dr. Bayram. Dr. Bayram, briefly introduce yourself and say hello to our viewers. Dr. Bayram, can you hear me?
Sorry, I forgot to turn on my microphone, basically. You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, then. Basically, I'm traveling in a taxi now. So if my broadcast is somehow cut off, or if you hear some unwanted voices, I pre-warn you about that. And I'm about to get off the taxi. Well, if you are happy with my situation and my talk, I may go on talking. Or if you have got other things to say or do, I may stop.
It's great. It's great, Dr. Bayram. We love it. This is live, and I think it's amazing. This is what we call, total global engagement. You're showing us some parts of the world that we don't know about. So that's amazing.
Ankara now. I'm off the taxi now. I'm an academic, as I said. In the past, when they asked me about my profession, I would say, or I used to say that, I'm doing what I love and get paid for it. Now I'm still doing academic things which I love, but nobody pays me for it. But I still do, because I'm doing things I love to do, basically. Yes, I am a victim of that genocidal regime claimed by the colonel. But still keeping up to fights despite all the difficulties, all the obstacles. There is no way of giving up the fight so long as there are some people who will not stop fighting against oppressive regimes. They will not be able to succeed. So I'm keeping up my spirit And then I say that so long as I am alive, I will fight for my rights and some others who cannot do it for themselves, like babies who were murdered in their mother's wombs, or children who cannot talk for themselves, or women who are unable to do the fight for themselves. So I think this is enough for now. I'm ready to answer the questions.
You're ready to answer a question. Well, yay. So I'd like to say thank you so much to our viewers, and they are sending questions, and of course they're joining from different places. Thank you so much for joining. I want to read some of this from Barbaros. Sally. Hüseyin Demirtaş is someone I follow with great. I didn't see that.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, yeah, with great interest in social media. We have Joseph Brown. In his, we're going to read the question. We forward it to you. We're forwarding it to our, into our feed. Just why do the International Criminal Court and the European Court of Human Rights remain silent? Do they think of these courts as an effective way? And then another one. Thank you for sharing your ideas. Thank you for fighting against dictatorship. And then there are hundreds, thousands in Turkey who have been dehumanized. I hope by the help of international communities, these people would have some air to breathe in. These are amazing comments, and thank you so much. We're gonna go ahead and move to our Q&A, official Q&A. And I'd like to say welcome to University Professor Dr. Derek Thies from University of North Georgia. I believe you are joining us on the chat room. We would like to say hello to everybody in Georgia. Thank you so much. And Dr. Samantha Schinder, she's the author of the Deliverance series. Thank you so much. And of course, I also like to welcome Dr. Gabrielle Malfatti from University of Missouri, and she is a director of global engagement from the College of Education. So hello, and thank you so much for supporting this this dialogue. And you are all welcome to. We're going to post the first question from Dr. Samantha Schinder. Can we put that on the screen? Okay, she said, I have to read it. My question for the panel is this. What would you, as scholars, like to see done with the information provided? She meant, everything that we're talking about here, and you sharing your experiences and what's happening in Turkey and what's happening in the world, especially Colonel Demirtaş. I would like to know your thoughts on what specific actions you would like to see as a result of this dialogue. What are the steps? Who need this information? Something the most, Colonel?
So it's a very, very complicated question. Huh? So we are talking about some sociological. So it's not easy to give such very solid, tangible answers to these kind of questions. But I will try to simplify, and I will try to say something. So thanks a lot for the question first. So
Yes.
and my friend came. Sorry.
Is that
Okay.
Dr. Bayram?
So I have a small bird here, a friend of mine. So she came here. Sorry. So so then, what would you as scholars like to see done with the information provided? So just I'm trying to light a candle in, I can say. So the first, so the actors, nations, countries, foundations, for example, human rights institutions, people themselves, one by one, individual people, activists, victims themselves, also criminals who commit genocidal crimes, and collaborators, and also enablers. So there are lots of different kinds of people and institutions and states, countries. So it's not so easy. So what should be done with this information provided? First, we need to initiate some endeavor against genocidal crimes. And our enormous enemy, I can say, is hate itself and the hate-based polarization, discrimination. So then what should be done with this information? First, we need to enlighten ourselves and the individuals around us. And we need courage, and we need to warn the criminals. So they should give up promptly these criminal activities. So I'm talking about more than 1.5 billion people in Turkey who are socially killed with 115 methods. So with this kind of information, the institutions, the people, the individuals, the activists, they should start, or they should stand with the victims against these criminals. So this information, I hope, enlightens the people's mind, the institutions' minds. There can be some collective endeavor against these kind of criminals. And these criminals are not limited to Turkey itself. So Turkey is just in the middle of different societies, different cultures, different religions, East and West, North and South. So the geopolitical position and the heritage from different cultures, from different religions, is very enormous, very important for the future of the world. So then we need to enlighten the people, and we need to initiate some endeavor. And also academicians, intellectuals, politicians, journalists, columnists, they are also important. They need to also initiate to end this kind of crime. And what should be the first steps? So prioritization is always difficult. So we need the big picture, and then we can make prioritization. So first, I think we need to build communication channels between cultures and nations and fractions of the society. In Turkey, the biggest problem, I see that the discrimination and people are always, the victims also are separate, and they are also fighting not against the criminals, but they are trying to divide the society. So the divisional factors, they are trying to blame themselves, each other. So we need to build communication channels between fractions of society. And my second priority is to fight against the hate speech and the polarization. And who needs this information the most? So our presentation gives lots of information, and a huge amount of information, and intensive information. So who needs these kind of information the most? First, but prioritization is always subjective. So it depends on the people. So my first priority, the victims themselves need this information the most, because in these last 4 years, I saw that people are not aware of the big picture. So the victims, they cannot see the big picture, so then they cannot, they don't know how to react, how to organize, how to get organized. And also another part of the world, I say the Islamic world needs this information. Why? Because the Islamic world assumes Erdogan as a Muslim, faithful, just leader. Who? So this is very important information. So especially in my presentation, I presented lots of information, plus the threat to humanity and to Turkish nation and the European also, and the Islamic world. So Erdogan is a threat to future of the world, especially the Islamic world, because they are deceiving all the people. So there can be some other answers to this question. This is a excellent question, a very good question. But in this short time, maybe we need to think about that. And I'm sure Dr. Bayram, as an academician, he can give good answers.
Yeah, Dr. Bayram.
Okay, thank you, Hüseyin. I will say that authoritarian leaders are very good at abusing people's beliefs, cultures, fears, even fears, and present themselves as the savior of the nation. On the case of Selahattin Demirtaş, I would say that Erdogan created a straw man or an abstract enemy, giant enemy that doesn't exist, but made the people to believe in that enemy. And then Selahattin Demirtaş was the agent of that enemy in Turkey that would break the country apart. And Erdogan, as the savior of the nation, savior of the country, who wouldn't allow that to happen. So that is the situation of, or that is the role of Erdogan in Turkey. That is the role, portrayed role of Selahattin Demirtaş in Turkey. So Selahattin Demirtaş is the enemy of the nation. Erdogan is the savior of the nation. In that case, so long as Erdogan is in power or on power, this case, I don't think will be solved peacefully or justly. As people who are in the knowledge might know that European Court of Human Rights made a decision that imprisonment of Demirtaş was unlawful. But what did they do? They created another crime. Yes, they supposed to have released Demirtaş for the crime they have charged earlier. They had charged earlier, and then they what to say? They indicted him for another crime, like the case of what's it called, Osman Kavala, for example. That guy was imprisoned for his role in the Gezi Park events, and then European Court of Human Rights ruled that his imprisonment was unjust. And then what did they do? While he was in prison on that supposed to be coup d'etat, 15th of July 16, he was in prison. But what did they do? They released him on the charge that European Court of Human Rights declared or decided unjust, unlawful, they did that next time, or that time again, they charged Osman Kavala for his role in the coup d'etat. You might wonder, how did that guy would involve in the coup d'etat while he was in prison? That will be unbelievable. But they did it. They did it, and Osman Kavala is still in prison. This time for his role or for his involvement in the coup d'etat. So long as Erdogan in power, I don't think that Selahattin Demirtaş will be released, or even European Court of Human Rights would be an agent for his release, because this regime, what should I say? No boundaries, no boundaries.
Okay.
Well, what we describe this regime is there is no law, okay? Lawless, country is lawless. So everything is arbitrary. Whatever the leader decides, courts have to obey his orders, because on the day of that's supposed to be coup d'etat, 3 hours later, 2,745 judges were dismissed from their posts. How and they were accused of having involved in the coup d'etat. Interestingly, some of them were already dead. They were in their graves. People in their graves were accused of having involved in the coup d'etat. So we are dealing with that kind of regime. In that case, if there is no other, some kind of outside involvement, or some kind of public outcry in the country, I don't think there will be some change. I shall stop talking from now. Okay, thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Dr. Bayram. Well, the reason why we are doing this dialogue, and I think it's so important, is we are actually sharing the stories of injustices that's happening in Turkey, that's happening in Yemen and Syria. And I think what Dr. Samantha Schinder has asked is what to do with the information that we are sharing, is that we are engaging the world. We have so many people understanding the need for us to engage, to have this kind of dialogue. And it takes courage. It takes commitment to doing it. And what you have done, Dr. Bayram and Colonel Demirtaş, is so incredible. And of course, we have people that have joined our dialogue and shared their stories of torture, of repression, and it's really heartbreaking. And we have shared that some of that is on part of our presentations. And I am inviting our audience to look at the presentations that we have, the pre-recorded presentations, part of the Hybrid World Forum. And that's why we call it hybrid, as I think, I'm a product of a hybrid class. And so it's in the times in the 21st century, where right now with the COVID-19 pandemic, I think it's an important tool that we are sharing these stories. And we have people from in and out of the academic community, and also that we're trying to, hopefully help us share these stories in their classrooms and their organizations. And I think this is what, we can use these stories and the facts, like, for example, the book Erdocide, in your report, Dr. Bayram, the social cost of the state of emergency in Turkey. These are very, very important evidence, testaments of the struggles of people, and the struggles in Turkey and what's happening in Turkey is also happening in many places in the world. And it takes the global community, our effort, a collective effort, and our courage to be able to fight against this, because like what you said, it's not going to happen if we do it like if we're preaching to the choir. We can't do it. We have to involve people with different voices, with different platforms, and we come together. And the platform like this, the Global Dialogue for Justice that we started, and we have Dr. Malfari, we have Derek Thies, we have Samantha Schinder, and we have all of you from different parts. I can see academics from UK. Well, we have Belgium. Netherlands. Thank you so much for joining this dialogue, and you guys can give us direction. You can join the conversation. This is just the first two phases of this dialogue for this round one. So we still have the phase 3 and 4, which is a face-to-face and online town hall meetings and round table discussions. And I invite you to join the next ones. And so we have another question that we posted from someone for Colonel Demirtaş. Why do the International Criminal Court and the European Court of Human Rights remain silent? Do they think of these courts as an effective way? Dr. Colonel Demirtaş, would you like to answer that one?
So, the main thing which decides the interests. So here, normally, the Criminal Court and European Court of Human Rights, they are institutions. They are institutions of rights, judicial institutions. But the problem, they are acting under political leadership. So, and the political affairs, they are always decided by interests, not the rights. So we are normally in this kind of situation, we are finding ourselves between rights and interests. So as individuals, when we are victims of some injustice, the rights are being important, more important. But normally in our lives and also internationally, the interests are more important. And it mustn't be so. So why International Criminal Court and human rights? So some people must apply to these institutions. Without application, they do nothing, first. And second, and more importantly, they are acting under political leadership. So the biggest problem in Europe is a refugee problem. And Erdogan is such a person who manipulates and who employs every kind of values, every kind of things. So maybe you remember several months ago, Erdogan said, "I'm sending Syrian refugees to Greece," and he did it for a few days, and they showed some counting marks. You remember? So they were counting minute by minute how many Syrian refugees passed from Turkey to Greece. And in a few days, the leaders, political leaders came together and they solved the problem, and the refugees, they made a pause. They finished. They didn't solve, but they made a pause. So this refugee, the amount of refugees and these people are victims of Erdogan's manipulation. So it's a tool for Erdogan relationships. He's just using it as a chantage instrument. So the European human rights, they can decide political leadership. Because of that, hundreds thousands of Turkish citizens, they are still victims, and first social that I counted are dead in this 4 years just because of this Erdogan's genocidal regime. And more than 100 people, they committed suicide. So they had their own lives. Because to sustain their lives were not possible. And now they are suffering from lots of things. So the rights and interests issue plus political concerns, and the biggest problem, manipulating the refugees. So these things come together, and because of that, of human rights is silent. And International Criminal Court, there is no application to them about genocidal crimes. So it is also silent.
Well, so it takes pressure then from the international community to pressure the ICC and to pressure all the human rights courts and human rights organization, I mean, globally, for them to take action and not be pressured by the tools that's being used so that they're silent. I mean, I think this is what's so important about what we're doing is we're challenging the complacency and the apathy of the international community to take action, bold steps, so that the countries like with veto powers and the type of the tools that the president of Turkey is using cannot be used anymore, because complacency and apathy must end for us to have justice for the people that are victims of old and new forms of slavery and genocide that's happening in Turkey right now and other places in the world. So I'd like to welcome Dr. Samantha Shinder. I think she's with us right now. Dr. Shinder, is she on screen? We can put Dr. Shinder on the screen. Oh, okay. All right. So, well, thank you so much, Dr. Shinder, for the question, and all of you that are giving your comments. And we want your suggestion and how we can move forward, how we can, gather more voices. So maybe collectively we can, we can end this apathy and complacency and the pressure to stay silent. And help it to be able to help the people that are victims. They're innocent victims of brutality, and and it's. I think it's time. It's time now for the whole community to band together and to work together. And so I like to thank. I think for example, the academic community. I look up to them for as one having the biggest role in educating our young people, especially who's going to be the one who's going to lead our countries in the future, the one who's got the potential to change the world. And so I am always grateful when scholars and educators and of course members of our community join this kind of dialogue, listening and giving their opinions and their guidance and their willingness to join. Actually, I have already received messages saying that on the next dialogue, they're going to be willing to come forward. We're just beginning this global dialogue for justice, and I think there is hope. And as long as we continue our resilience, our courage, and our commitment to work really hard, I think there is hope. And so What do you guys think? Should we talk about the next? Okay, there's a message. If it's possible, please can you invite some human rights organization into this debate? The fourth stage. Yes, we are going to do that. Thank you so much, Doctor, uh, for that suggestion. And also, again, we'd like to say hello to our friends joining in from different places in the world today. And we really appreciate your support. So we're going to need your help. Let's go ahead and talk about the 3 and 4 stage. This is the face-to-face, and of course, it's going to be shared on multiple platforms. So it's the round table discussion or the town hall meeting. Now, because of what's going on, I'm American, and we're pretty much like trapped in the country right now because of what's happening with the pandemic. But eventually, it's gonna open up. It's not always gonna be, the travel restrictions will be lifted, and I'm very positive. And today is my 129 day of a self distancing, very strict social distancing, because I am preparing for the 3rd and 4th phase of this dialogue. And as soon as that is, I'm able to travel, I am going to move this dialogue into a place where it's ideal for us to do the 3rd and 4th phase. And at the same time, still continue our engagement with the rest of the world. So I'd like to thank you for additionally some journalists from different countries would be great. That's really amazing. We're gonna reach out to them, and with your help, with everybody's helping out, I think we can do this. So my idea, and I don't know about you guys, originally before this thing happened, we were prepared about 3 weeks, on the way to Munich, because that's where I have been able to engage and connect with members of different communities in Germany. But then since it happened, we have to start from the drawing board, the 3rd and 4th phase. Where are we going? And my idea probably is to go to Utrecht or in The Hague. I think these places are some of the most ideal places where we take this dialogue to be the house of the global dialogue for justice, and I'm willing to do that. But we're gonna need organizations that are already there, that have the same platform, that have the same purpose, and willing to support us so that we can continue and move forward. Because there are so many organizations like the ones in the UK. We have the I Am Not For Sale organization, who took part in the movie Beyond the Shadow of September. And of course, the Free Latifa, the nonprofit organization, there's so many also who would like to join. And I think we can keep doing this, the completing the first round, and then we move to another platform, another topic, another issue that is within, is seeking for justice and freedom and accountability for the innocent people that we're trying to help. So let me read. I would like to thank you all for your valuable contribution and bringing this problem into international level. Thank you so much. And we have to encourage our environment to raise their voice, but I'm afraid I haven't seen enough effort for doing something to spread courage. Everyone is pushing hard to get out of the trap on their own. That is true, but because when you see something like this, it's scary to share our stories, to fight a brutal regime or dictatorship. That's pretty scary. But when we come together, when we have people like you that are willing to step up and help, then it doesn't, we become a little braver and stronger every time. So knowing that I'm not alone anymore, I started this back in 2014 when, as a non-traditional scholar in the beginning, it was very scary because, you know, you have to follow the tradition. You have to publish the traditional way, the peer-to-peer review, the manuscript. But I deviate from that. I walk a different path. And in the beginning, it was scary. But I wasn't discouraged. Why? Because there are people from the traditional scholars from the academic institution who right away figure out what I was doing. So I would like to thank the University of Missouri, the Dr. Gabriel Malfatti, Dr. Scott Morton. They actually brought me into the university, and I was able to speak with young people there. And I think it's pretty amazing that they did not resist or disvalued my effort. Now to this day they're very supportive, and this kind. And now that my partnership with you, Colonel Demirtaş and Dr. Bayram, I think that is so valuable, and the people that you guys are here and supporting this, I think is so important. So we're going to continue this, and if you this comments is so valuable, and we're gonna go through this one, read it, talk about it, and maybe contact you guys. You are welcome to contact us, to direct message us, to help us and to guide us for the next phase of the dialogue. So I would like to reach out to our friends in the Netherlands. I have filmed in The Hague, and I've traveled in Amsterdam and other places there. And if this is where we're going to take the next one, or maybe in Brussels or in Munich or Hamburg or Vienna, please let us know. Come forward. Tell us that you're willing to help us make it happen, to continue this dialogue, to make it broad, to invite more voices. And we are counting on you. So, Mr. Joseph Brown, thank you for all your answers. So, Dr. Bayram, would you like to add to our plea for the next one, for the next phase of our dialogue, where we're going? We know that there's an invitation somewhere in Europe, and we will let everyone know if that pans out, and I'm sure it will. But if you have any ideas, and if you have events and you want to bring us there and share this global dialogue and what we've done already and we're trying to do, you're welcome to send your invitation beyondtheshadowofseptember.com, or Colonel Demirtaş and Dr. Bayram message us, and we are going to work with you, and we're excited to do that. Right? Am I right?
You are absolutely right, Mergina. Thank you for giving us an additional voice, because I am still in Turkey. I couldn't go out because I am not allowed to. So I was being drowned by the regime. My voice is or was cut off. I was crying in silence. Now you made my voice heard internationally. Thank you very much. Well, we have got to join forces all over the world. Otherwise, these lunatic, oppressive guys will run the show. And they are doing at present, unfortunately. But they shouldn't be able to do it from now on. With us joining forces, those lunatics will not be able to Hitler of the 21st century. The world doesn't need another Hitler figure, another Mussolini figure, another Stalin figure. World needs peace, harmony, justice, and welfare, obviously. So we all need each other to realize that dream. I shall stop from now on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bayram. You know, I can't wait. I want to have another opportunity to visit Turkey. You know, I was there, and I love your country. When we're talking about diversity and we're talking about culture, the richness in culture and history. Well, if the politics is right, only when politics and everyone goes on the side of justice, the country of Turkey is a model for the world, and I just love it. You know, you can be on a hijab, you can be on the women can wear a hijab, can wear shorts, and a bus and a train, and you go in the playground and coffee shop, and there's tolerance, there's friendship, there's understanding, and the only thing we have to do is get rid of the brutal the you know dictator that's making life so hard and complicated. So I think so please don't lose hope. That's why we're doing this, and I'm very excited that we're joining forces and we're collaborating. And so it's very exciting. And your story is so powerful, and your courage is so admirable, Dr. Baram. So please always be there.
So long as you are there, I will be here.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much. So we want to answer. Dr. Samantha Schinder said we need more support for action research models so that academics are not tied up from actually doing good and taking a stand. I love that, Dr. Schinder, and they are joining us actually more and more. It's more and more widely accepted. Like what I do is I do podcasts and I do this kind of dialogue on live streaming. And before it's hard for them to support and come forward, but little by little they are, and really truly I am so excited that we have more ways to help our communities and to make a difference in the world, both the traditional, non-traditional scholars. I think with your saying, having the research models, action, that it's not bad to become a practitioner and work with a traditional scholar that's doing research within the academic institution. So it's very exciting for me to work with Dr. Bayram, because Dr. Bayram, for the longest time, as an academic, as a scholar, you work in a university and you traveled in different places in the world. And now you're working with me on this, even though you are confined right now at the moment in Turkey, but you're able to show, your the world that you can continue as an academic and scholar, and that's so admirable. And hoping that more and more people like you, and I can see now that they are going to be joining us, and I'm very excited about that. So Turkey has an amazing history and culture from Dr. Schinder. Academics are now petrified of being labeled as biased, so they shy away from these hard issues, but the stories speak for themselves. That is true, but I'm very hopeful that, because of the need for historic changes in education right now in the world, I think we're going to open up for more opportunities for academics to get out within the community, and accept that we have more choices now. Like what I've done is my dissertation. I turn it into the practical application of my dissertation. Now I turn it into a movie, to a documentary. So it's something that moves and talks and sings and flies, and now it's here in the dialogue. So it's becoming more, hopefully, widely accepted to do this kind of thing as a part of educational tools, pedagogical tools that can be used by students and other members of communities, because we need to find more tools that are available to us, especially now. So, all right. So I'll be waiting for the suggestions and your support for the next round, the third and fourth phase of this global dialogue for justice. Within the next few days, we should have some very good idea what's gonna happen, and hopefully we can broaden the partnership. Me and Dr. Bayram and Colonel Demirtaş, we can't do this alone. We can't. We need you out there. We need the global community and to collaborate with us. So I am sharing you the new idea I heard, stubborn positivism. We need stubborn positivism. Okay, and also from Faith Erdal, thank you for all your efforts and for being the voice of victims. Thank you so much. All right, so to conclude our presentation today, I'm not able to track the raffle because I was going to get all the names, but I can do that. And give me a couple of days, and we have some prizes for every single one. Every person that came today will be part of a raffle, and what you guys are gonna win is really cool. Okay, so we have the book of Colonel Demirtaş, Erdocide is gonna be one of the giveaways, and of course the free 48-hour stream of the movie Beyond the Shadow of September. If you guys see, I mean, I traveled in 10 countries, and I slept in the tent in the bus station and the airport lobbies. But I went there and engaged people, and it's not easy, but it's pretty exciting. And I'm showing these different perspectives in the movie. So part one, we're giving away a free stream certificate, and of course a certificate, a free class or a workshop for public speaking storytelling workshop that I've been doing. And Dr. Shinder, we designed a writing and speechifying workshop, and maybe she will join me and she will help me and for this raffle. So in the next few days, we will gonna do the raffle, and we'll tell you who the winner is. So thank you again so much. To conclude the presentation, I would like to ask Colonel Demirtaş for your appeal to the world. Colonel?
So, people are, as I said in my presentation, trying to pick sides. So I am picking the side of righteous one. So justice is always the most important thing. So we need to fight against criminals, and we need to stand with people. And we need to save the victims. And we need to help them to bind them with the life. And freedom of speech, freedom itself is very valuable for a person, for a human being. And my call to the world, we need to initiate an international independent investigation about these genocidal crimes in Turkey. So my call to the world is this.
Thank you, Colonel Demirtaş. Dr. Bayram?
Okay, we shall forget our differences in supposed to be race, culture, nationality, gender, all those things. We are all human beings, one race, one nation, in fact. So if some of us is in agony, the other part of humanity cannot be happy. So to share the joys or joys or happiness, to be eternal or continuous, we shall make effort to spread happiness, joy, justice to everywhere, so that our happiness, joy, justice, welfare could stay forever. Otherwise, if we look away from all the problems of the world, those problems might come to us someday, so that we shall take precaution from today, from that happening. Let us improve this fight against injustice altogether. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So my call to the world is to step up, to have that courage, to have that commitment, to engage others, whether they agree with you or not. I think we know that the call for justice is everywhere. It's coming from everywhere in the world. And I'd like to show and send my love and affection for the people in Turkey. And I was there and I saw you, and I know what's going on there. And also the people in Syria, in Yemen. So many of you are suffering while the world stays silent. And I think it should end. I think the silence of the world must end, and we have to come together and fight for justice. Those people are victims, innocent victims of brutality, of repression, of new forms, the old and new forms of slavery and genocide. It's happening. It's happening today as we speak, everywhere. Even in the most powerful nations, it's happening. And it takes the world, it takes bold and courageous people to change the world. So thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.